Hey there, it's Steve Harris at MuseThemes. Let's talk about our new widget called CSS Text Animations. Basically what this widget allows you to do is animate blocks of text using some really nice predefined transitions and animations directly in Muse. You'd see a lot of this done in software like Edge or lots of presentation software has effects like this, but nothing on the web that creates real selectable text. And if I refresh this page, I'll show you a quick example. See how Code Ignite fades in one letter at a time? That's still all real searchable selectable text, but I animated it directly in Muse. So let me show you how this new widget works. If we go back to Muse, I'm going to create a new site. And I just want to do this on a white background so it's a little bit easier to see. So I'm just going to clear out the browser fill and stroke. Okay. So as usual, we need to scroll down to our MuseThemes toolbox, and we have number 16, text animations. So let's drag that out on the page. And you can see we have a whole big options file panel here, and we have the words animate this text. So let me close the actual Muse menu behind, and let's look at these specifics. So the first option we have is it says enter text to animate. This is of course the text that you're seeing to the left. So you enter your text directly in the file panel. So let's just call this MuseThemes Widget. Okay. Once Muse loads a new preview of that, you can see that it's wrapping. This text works just like any other text. So if we extend the size of this box, it shouldn't wrap anymore. We can also bring up our text panel here. We can change the size, so let's shrink that down a little bit. And let's change the color. So we'll just change it to blue. Okay. So feel free to style your text however you wish so that it matches your site. Let's look at the rest of the options here. Okay, let me shrink that a bit so we have more room to see. Okay, so in our options flyout, the next thing we have to select is it says animation type and in brackets in. I'll explain why it says in later, but basically you can set two different types of animations for a single block of text. So right now we have fly in and up, but let's do something like we saw on the Code Ignite site, and that was actually a fade in. So if I select fade in, it's going to regenerate a preview, and now we can set some timing options. So we have a delay time before playing. The majority of users are going to want to set this at 0. That means it's just going to play instantly. We have an animation time for each character, so basically this is how long a single character takes to appear. And the next one below is the delay time between characters, so the amount of time before your next character comes up. So in this example, let's set the animation time for each character to say 30, and this is in milliseconds. Okay. Now, the last few checkboxes we have here is we can come in at a random character sequence, which means rather than it starting from left to right and going M-U-S-E, it's going to come in all randomly. We can also animate all of the characters at once, so they come in at one time. And then this final checkbox says loop animation. And right now it's checked, and what that does is it enables this kind of the second half of this box, which is the out animation. If your animation is looping, obviously it needs to come in and it needs to come out somehow. So this just allows that control. For this example, I'm just going to turn this off for now, and you can see when I do that, all of these controls go away. And let's preview how this looks. So again, we're going to see a fade in. We're going to see a little bit of a delay or an animation time for each character that's a little slower, and let's see how it looks. So if I preview that in the browser, there, they come in one at a time, just like that. Now, use this widget subtly. It should be elegant, and you don't want everything flying in and coming in at different times. But I think that was pretty nice. So let's go back into it, and let's just select this random character sequence, for example. And then, you know what? Let's just turn down the animation time for each character back to 10. And I want to preview that again in the browser. You don't actually need to publish this up. You can just preview it right in the browser, and it runs. So there, now that we did that, you can see how it came in all in random characters and random locations. So that's cool. Okay, so let's now look at the out animation. So let's say we're happy with the fade in that we're using for it coming in. Now if we click loop, then we need to figure out how we want this to leave. And so we have another drop down here with a bunch of looping options or out options, but let's select something really crazy that you're probably not going to use very much. Let's say fly out and down. You'll see what that does when I preview it, but it's pretty intense. And then we have also the same kind of timing controls here. We have an exit time for each character, a delay time. We can exit in random sequence, or we can exit all at once. So I'm going to leave those unchecked. So what it means, it should exit basically from left to right. So let's just go ahead and preview that in the browser. Okay, so it fades in, and then our exit animation comes in, so they drop out from left to right. And because it's set to loop, it's just going to continue doing that. So that's it. That's the text animation widget. So I encourage you to play with all these different types here. If I set this to, let's go fade, actually let's go rotate in and the animation type out. We'll set this to a crazy one, which is called hinge. And I'm going to change the time a little bit to be nice and slow, and you'll see how this works. And we'll go a random sequence, why not? Okay, let's preview that in the browser. And so we have our rotation in, and now the hinge effect happens, which means all of the characters actually hinge and kind of swing to the left and drop out. So that's the widget. It's pretty extreme. It took lots of code to do this, but keep in mind, this is all selectable text. Like, I can still select these even as they're swinging and dropping out. So this has no negative effect whatsoever to something like SEO. Google can still see all of this real text on your website. And you know what? It's pretty light. Normally you would have had to do this with Flash, or right now people are doing it in Edge, but even I'm not a huge Edge user, and I found it really difficult to do. So this will let you do the majority of it right in Muse, and you know, it doesn't affect your site load time or anything like that. So give it a shot, let us know what you think, and enjoy. Thanks again.